AITA for not reimbursing my friend after she paid me for a gift she bought me? I, 24, have a close friend, F29, with whom I've always had a very harmonious relationship. I'm known for being overly kind and generous, and I've never had a conflict with this friend. I've never asked for financial support in any form. Recently, she sent me a link to an online store that sells Asian products. She was thrilled because she found a backpack with a cartoon character that I adore, and I used to talk about it. She wanted to give me something, and we found a backpack on the site that she said she could afford. She made the purchase and told me it cost around €35, and she ordered it to surprise me. A few days ago, as a surprise, she showed up at my place with the backpack, which I loved and wore, and some snacks she had also bought for me on the same occasion. It was a simple but thoughtful gesture, and I was delighted with the surprise. However, today I received a message from her saying, "I'll be honest, I'm in a really difficult financial situation," and she asked if I could help her with €80 because she was struggling with rent. She mentioned that she had paid €90 for the backpack, and she didn't know what had gotten into her to make such an expensive purchase. That figure is much higher than what she had originally mentioned. I was taken aback by her request. I had never asked for such a gesture, even though we have exchanged gifts before. It has always been through shared interests like books we both enjoy. She was the one who initiated the idea of giving me something special, especially because I also have a birthday coming up. I don't want to feel like I'm repaying a favor that was never intended as a favor, especially now that she's in financial trouble. It doesn't make sense to me to feel indebted when I never asked for anything, and I don't want to set a precedent where I must reciprocate to someone who intentionally surprised me, maybe spending more than she should have. I'm willing to help if needed, but this request feels strange to me, especially after the financial inconsistencies she mentioned. I definitely considered how odd it was for her to buy me a backpack for allegedly €90, and also thought about a possible scam. But I'm not the one who needs to verify the financial issues, whether mine or her. I have no way to verify this. Even if it was a scam, she's in this situation. But I don't see why I should put myself in the same possible mess by giving her money back when I never asked for her at first. With her chaotic character, clashes of this nature can happen with her. It's never happened to me before. Am I the asshole for thinking my friend is leveraging a favor to cash me some money to the point of an overly generous gesture, but with a poorly thought-out economic premise that scares me to a strange conflict never happened before between we two? Next story. WBTA if I faked an engagement ring for a family wedding? This September, I 30F, am flying cross-country to attend my cousin's wedding. My whole family on my mom's side will be there, parents' generation, cousins' generation, grandparents' generation. One of the people attending is a family member I'll call Tracy, who we lost contact with for the last 10 years due to her alcoholism, but who is now 5 years sober and welcomed back into the fold. It's not my story to tell, but bottom line is, Tracy caused a lot of emotional pain in the family through her alcoholism, and while Tracy is a wonderful person, there are serious scars she left on the family. But she's more stable now, getting care she needs, and is sober. I was really happy to learn that Tracy was back in family life. I was happy to see her again, even though I knew how turbulent she had been in the past. But my mom had other feelings. Mom sat me down and told me that Tracy has always had an obsession with marriage and kids. In the past, she has been very vocal about those topics, think zealot perspective. So much so she would harangue family members about it. Before Cal, cousin's alcoholism low, she was even interrogating me about it when I was a preteen, crying about how unfair it was my life was ahead of me with open possibilities while she was single. So my mom is concerned about this behavior reviving. After a long talk, she requested a spicy option, but honestly, not crazy, when you remember she could be an interrogating family member. Mom asked me if possible to fake an engagement ring, since my partner says he plans on proposing in 2 years. My mom asks that I imply my situation is more official than it is, so she, my mom, doesn't have to deal with Tracy's baggage at the wedding. The idea isn't crazy. My partner and I live together, have been together 4 years, and plan on eventually marrying. It's not a big lie. But I seriously do not feel okay with the situation potentially spiraling into anything. A huge reason is that the engagement, marriage, kids milestones are about 5x in size for my family. There is a certain level of traditionalism regarding these milestones that I never liked and definitely think exceeds the normal cultural standard. My family really pressurized me and other members into reaching the milestones before, and I can see why Tracy wound up so hung up on reaching the milestones herself. So fake or real, when I finally would announce, I do not want it being more than a Zoom call, and maybe in person, with parents or grandparents depending on the year. Also, I feel really bleak about lying to my family, and deceit is not my cup of tea at all. My mom pointed out that we could get out of hand with a fake engagement, leading to tricky discussions. If Tracy is really being crazy, though she'll probably believe it anyway, and it's unlikely Tracy really reaches her Cal levels again. On the other end, if Tracy does this, there will be extreme toxicity and problems for more members than me. In Mom's opinion, it comes out to we take away Cal hostage from Tracy or leave it on the table. So since I'm bulletproof other than wavering if I should trust Tracy, WP if I faked a proposal on the way, to try and keep the peace? Next story. AITA for not helping my best friend with financially assisting her brother's wedding. My best friend, Carla, and her brothers are Orthodox Jews. Both her brothers made Aliyah to a Jewish colony in a part of Israel I don't even think is legal. I still consider her one of my dearest friends, although she lead a completely separate life I would never consider for myself. This month, her youngest brother met a woman, and they are getting married. Carla, who I would consider to be at least a moderately liberal person, was complaining to me about how her brother's wedding has to have full gender segregation, and the men and women will be dancing on separate sides of a wall, and her husband cannot dance with her. This was incomprehensible to me. A wedding like happened how long ago? 500 years? I couldn't hold back my feelings about how I thought gender-segregated weddings were archaic, and my discomfort that a woman would be entering a marriage with someone who sees her as some lesser being. Then, in one of the most baffling moments of my life, Carla asked me to donate money to her brother's wedding expenses, which also include the probably not legal settlement camp they will be living on, which is what my friend calls it. Something about donations being custom. At this point, I did lose it. I told her that I would not be donating a single penny to her religion, and I think it's medieval that they treat women that way. I asked if her brother has even considered if his wife wants a divided gender-segregated wedding, and she had no idea. She said they only met and got engaged this month. Weird. I normally wouldn't have issues donating to a friend, but I am not donating to a fundamentally religious event, and I honestly can't believe she asked me. Next story. AITA for telling my mother that her new husband isn't my replacement dad, and calling her an asshole. For context, I am 17. My father died of an overdose when I was 7.